I love it when you talk nerdy to me. Tell me again. Solid rocket boosters.
A few years ago, in a galaxy or a state far, far away, we went to Kennedy Space Center. Now, we're back. And we went again to Kennedy Space Center. And it was just as cool the second time.
So one of the first things that we decided to do was go on the bus tour because we wanted to make sure that we got on there before it stopped running for the day.
And we wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to soak in the Saturn V rocket.
Nick is in love with the Saturn V rocket. We have the Lego set that's like the giant Saturn V rocket, and we saw it a couple years ago and obsessed ever since.
It's awesome. It's huge. The bus tour is actually really cool, and it takes you to the Saturn V rocket. I think my favorite is seeing the 39A and 39B launch pads, where they launched the Saturn V rockets that went to the moon, and they launched a bunch of space shuttles, and SpaceX is still launching stuff, and where they're going to start launching SLS when it's done.
And it's just really inspiring to like be there, even though we didn't even get off the bus, but just like to be in that area is really, like, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So another part of the Kennedy complex that you get to see on the bus tour that you wouldn't normally see is the vehicle assembly building. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Like, there's nothing around.
Yeah, isn't it like a wildlife preserve?
Yeah, it's a wildlife preserve, but there's this giant building. It's kind of hard to grasp the magnitude of the size of the building, but this thing is gigantic. Like,
right now they're building the I don't know exactly what
tower,
it's called, but like, yeah, the
something
tower that sits next to the launch pad and stuff. And they had the doors open, and we could
Yeah.
actually see it in there.
They have the doors open all the way. This building is insane.
It's a huge building. The other huge thing that you'll see on the tour is the crawler. And the crawler is basically the thing that they wheel out the rockets on. And it moves, I thought wasn't it like
1 mile per hour.
Yeah,
Top speed.
It's like they got these huge tracks, and it just seems like it would take forever to get the rockets out there. But I mean,
Yeah.
how else are you gonna get a rocket out there? So I think the main attraction of Kennedy Space Center is the Saturn V Center.
For this guy.
It's cool because they have the Saturn V like kind of propped up. You can walk underneath it, and it's all divided up into stages. They also have like little models on the floor, so you can see like inside of it, and you can kind of get a better understanding of how everything happened, how it launched, what broke off at what point, like what they did when they were in space, so they turned everything around and docked and all this stuff. This thing is like, I think it's taller than the Statue of Liberty. And they shot it up into space. Like, can you imagine the Statue of Liberty with rocket engines on the bottom and flying up into space? Like, that's crazy.
And all of that just for like 3 guys
Yeah,
and like gear.
yeah.
Like this huge amount of rocket ship for like this little tiny capsule that comes back.
They have a memorial for the Apollo 1 astronauts, which, you know, it's sad to see, but it's also kind of interesting because they have like a lot of the things that the astronauts owned, and they also have the actual doors of the capsule that they couldn't get open when the fire went off.
It's so innovative, like the
Yeah.
way that they show it. They have like these glass display cases, and they're basically have like a screen in the glass. What happens is it like shows a video on the screen and then clears the screen, but you can still see text.
Yeah, and the screen just like disappears.
Yeah.
And here's the doors from Apollo 1 just sitting there right in front of you.
It's pretty cool.
Elliott was with us, and we wanted to kind of explain to him about what happened. And then afterwards, he just like kept on saying,
I'm gonna tell him, that's mannequins.
That's a good idea.
He was so cute though. I mean, I love that he's a problem solver, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, these people passed away, so next time, no real people,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, so cute. You kind of go into this little room, and like it's actually the real control center that they use to launch a I'm so bad at this space
I think
stuff.
it was Apollo 8 or something. One of the Apollo missions, they have like all the consoles
All the
from
computers and
when they were launching it.
buttons and switches, and it's kind of cool because they like show videos of like the whole, like, I think it's like the 3 minutes before takeoff.
Yeah, like they started with a countdown, like 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and they kind of like go through an actual, like, kind of like a simulation of it.
Yeah, and like they light up which like little area they're talking to, and they like no go or no go, and it like lights it up. And then whenever it does take off, the windows in the back of the room start to like shake and get
light
red.
up, yeah.
So that was really cool to like get to be in there and watch that. And then you open the doors and it's Saturn V.
So one other section of the building with the Saturn V, they have spacesuits.
Some samples of rocks
Yeah,
that they brought
samples
back.
They also have the Apollo 14 capsule in there, and that's really cool. You could get like a good look inside of it and kind of see how big it is, and just imagine that thing like coming crashing down from space and falling in the ocean.
They had a little theater. So we just like walked in and we thought it was just like, I don't know. I didn't think that it was going to be like a show. I thought it was more like a question and answer. It was amazing. It was about the lunar landing, and it was like they showed a video, but then they also had like a lunar lander like came down and like showed how it, you know, landed and everything.
Yeah, it was crazy because I thought it was just gonna be the video, and then like this lunar lander, like full-size lunar lander, like just comes down like right in front of you, and then I thought it was even cooler when it like kind of like like the top part like blasted off, because like you don't see, they have footage of that, but you don't see it that often, and it's kind of interesting to see. Like, you could always think about how do we get to the moon, but like how did we actually get off the moon once we were there?
It's an important part of the mission is to come back.
So the other big attraction at Kennedy is the Atlantis space shuttle. When you walk into the building, there's the giant fuel tank and the solid rocket boosters like propped up right in front of the building, and you walk through that to get in the actual building. And again, they kind of like show you this video before you actually go in there.
Yeah, they were talking about like how they had to come up with a reusable space shuttle and like the challenges that they faced, and it was kind of like they had actors playing the roles and stuff. I thought it was really cool, and I feel like even Elliott was really into it.
Yeah.
And then you go into another room, and this room is really cool because it kind of like, it's almost like an Omnimax. The coolest part is at the end, it kind of shows the space shuttle sort of like soaring towards you through outer space, but then it like opens up and it's right there.
Yeah, the real space shuttle just like opens up kind of like a garage door, and like there it is, just
like
right in
so
front
it
of
goes
you.
from like the screen where it looks like it's in just on the screen, and then it's like right there, and it's just like this surreal moment. And we've even seen it before.
Yeah.
When it came up, we were like, like and we knew it was coming.
The thing I like about it is it's not just like the space shuttle just laying in a hangar or something like that. It's like kind of propped up on its side and like angled a little
It
bit.
looks like it's soaring.
The bay doors are open and you can see like right inside and see how big of like what they could fit in there, because I mean they fit all the pieces of the space station in there.
Yeah.
And so and the arm is out and everything like that, so it like almost looks like you're like in space,
Yeah.
seeing this thing like opened up.
I think it's like 3 stories tall in the building, and there's like no middle story underneath where that is. Like this hand is like looking really weird.
Yeah, so you can go
So-
underneath it and you can see like all the like heat shield tiles and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Speaking of being up 3 stories, they also have a little exhibit there that is like a little simulation of the space station, and it's kind of more for kids.
Yeah, it's almost like a playground.
We go over there, and Elliot's like, "Mommy, come in with me." And I'm like, "Okay." And I just go in. And what I forgot from last time was that the last section, that's like really long, is clear.
And it's like hanging up above,
Yeah.
like, was it like 2 stories
Yeah.
up?
2 stories up, nothing below you. Oh my god, that was the worst idea I've ever had. I was like, all right, I'm done with that now.
But Elliot did have a lot of fun playing around in that playground. He was there for a while. Like,
Yeah.
I actually went back over by the space shuttle and started, just taking more pictures of it. And also there's an engine like on display, and I was looking at all that while he was playing around, just running through the space station over and over again.
Yeah, he loved it, and we got a lot of footage of him with the GoPro,
Yeah.
which is super awesome. They have a slide that goes all the way from the 3rd floor down to the 1st floor, and it's supposed to simulate.
I think it's simulating like the space shuttle landing.
We
I
tried.
thought it was like if they were like, they have like, the slides that come out of airplanes or whatever. I thought it was supposed to simulate something like that, but I think I read that it was like simulating like the actual landing of the space shuttle.
So the people at NASA learned a little something from the folks at Disney. Always exit to the gift shop.
So the last thing we did, well, second to last thing we did was go to the gift shop.
The world's largest space gift shop.
Yeah. Across the top, like there's like a bridge that goes through, and it's like painted up orange, and I think it's supposed to kind of be like, when they're walking out
From the
into,
tower to the ship.
Yeah. And they also had, space suits for kids and
Backpacks and plastic
backpacks and
toys and
tons of space shuttle toys and rockets and stuff.
Elliot got a little set of little plastic spaceship and astronauts, and then it has a background so you can kind of set it up so that it looks like they landed on the moon. I think there's a lunar lander in there.
Yeah, he was excited when he got it back to the hotel because I don't think he realized that the little mat was in there, and then he found that and set the mat out and set up all the little space guys and stuff. They had a camera set up, and you could look like we had to hold Elliot up in front of it, and it like put you in a spacesuit. It would like send you up to the wall so that you'd be like projected on the wall, floating around.
That's pretty cute. So before we left for our trip, I decided to try my hand at making a skirt. And we found the best fabric ever. It kind of looks like this. So of course I had to wear it on the day that we went to Kennedy. I think it looked pretty cute.
I think Kennedy is one of my favorite places to go when we go to Florida. It's one of the few places where you can go and see a real space shuttle, a Saturn V rocket, and all kinds of other stuff. I wish we could have spent a little bit more time there, but we've been there twice, so at least we got to see all the really big, best parts of it. How about we do like a rocket one?
3, 2, 1. Wait. I don't know what you're trying to get me
You
to
gotta
do.
do it like this.
Okay.
You gotta start down here and you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to hit the like button, and if you want to see more super adventures, click the subscribe button.